The ground-dissolving reason your feet are standing over a void that science refuses to name. And in 2014, on the Yamal Peninsula in Siberia, a crater the width of a city block tour opened overnight with no impact, no explosion, no seismic record, and no agreed explanation. It just appeared, and geologists looked inside it and went quiet. You've walked on ground like this. You just didn't know. The earth beneath your feet isn't solid, it's threaded with pockets, channels, pressure systems, and gas reservoirs shifting in ways no instrument predicted. When those systems fail, they don't send a warning, they leave a hole. The Yamal crater, catalogued as B1 by Russian researchers, measured 30 meters across and 70 meters deep on first survey. That's a drop of 23 stories, into a space that didn't exist the day before. The ground was there in the morning, then it wasn't. And the reason nobody saw it forming is exactly what scientists don't want to say out loud. Here's what they're willing to admit. Beneath Siberia, frozen for thousands of years, lies a layer called permafrost. Inside that permafrost, pockets of methane gas have been building pressure for centuries. The official theory, the safe, publishable one, is that rising temperatures thaw the permafrost, gas pressure climbs, and eventually the surface blows outward like a champagne cork on a geological scale. Scientists named it a pingo collapse. They cataloged the explanation, filed the papers, and moved on, except the Yamal crater doesn't fit. The walls are too clean, the edges are too vertical. There's almost no debris field, and when something explodes, material goes somewhere. At Yamal, the ejecta, everything that should have launched outward, was minimal, scattered. Like the force wasn't pushing out at all, like the crater didn't open from an explosion. Like something beneath it briefly held the earth up, then let it fall. That distinction matters more than you'd think. In 2020, researchers flying survey routes over the same peninsula spotted 17 new craters that hadn't appeared in satellite imagery from 2019. Not one, not two, 17, in 12 months. No explosions were recorded, no seismic signatures, no local reports of sound or vibration or visible ground movement. They simply weren't there, and then they were. What made that year's survey different wasn't the number. It was what they found underneath several of them, lakes. New bodies of water that hadn't existed before. And in some cases the reverse. Existing lakes had vanished, leaving behind not dry land craters. You're not watching land changing. You're watching land swap between states with no transition and no warning. Scientists gave that process a name they don't use in press releases. They call it thermokarst, thaw collapse. The earth liquefying from beneath, silently, leaving either a void or a new lake where solid ground used to be. But thermokarst still doesn't explain the B1 core samples. When researchers pulled sediment from the crater walls, the material layers were inverted, deep rock sitting above surface rock. That means something pushed upward first, then collapsed inward. Not a gas release outward, a pressure event from depth, followed by an internal void forming as that pressure withdrew. Like the earth briefly inflated and then deflated faster than the surface could respond. The isotope signature on those displaced sediment layers didn't match methane. It matched fault-adjacent fluid migration, liquid under pressure moving laterally through deep rock, rapidly depressurizing when it found a weak vertical channel. The same subsurface behavior that precedes certain types of deep-focus earthquakes, except there was no earthquake, just the shaft. In 2023, a crater cluster in China's Sichuan province, 12 features, appeared across terrain classified as geologically stable. No active faults nearby. No notable climate variation in the immediate zone. The official statement from the Regional Geological Survey, under further investigation. That was 2023. No public findings have followed. Meanwhile, Alaska's North Slope has cataloged over 400 new thermokarst features since 2018. Some sit directly beneath pipeline monitoring zones, not near them, under them. The crater with no origin isn't one crater. It's a pattern, and the pattern is accelerating. Something is moving through the subsurface in ways that existing ground stability models weren't designed to detect. The Yamal B1 has a catalog number and a published theory that its own data contradicts. The 17 new craters have coordinates. The ones beneath the lakes have no explanation on record at all. and the infrastructure sitting above this process, roads, pipelines, buildings, cities built across permafrost zones, was engineered for a ground that assumed stability at depth. 3 countries have now logged this event type in a single decade. None have issued a unified explanation. The scientific disagreement isn't narrow, it's total. Researchers working the same sites have published conclusions so opposite that both cannot be true. One of them isn't. What nobody has published, what stays in conference rooms and unpublished drafts, is the question of whether these craters are endpoints or precursors. Whether the hole that appears with no origin is the final event in a buried sequence, or the first visible sign of something still building pressure underneath. The Earth has reorganized like this before, in prehistory, across scales that rewrote coastlines and erased entire landscapes. It left no advance warning in the record either. You're standing on the same material. The same rules still apply.